Is Wendy Williams okay, guys? Is Wendy Williams okay? So I'm here to talk about Wendy Williams and just in a larger context because you guys know that I like to talk about things, but also add it to like a larger context and not just talk bash a person. But so today or yesterday, Wendy Williams was on her show, Wendy Williams show, her daily show, and she was doing Hot Topics, and she spoke about Drew Carey and his ex-fiance being murdered just recently. So if you guys don't know who Drew Carey is, I think most people would know, but maybe if you're a little younger, you don't know. He hosts currently The Price is Right. And before that, he used to host like a improv show that I cannot think of the name of right now. But he used to host an improv show, and I actually used to love that show. And he used to have his own TV show that was called The Drew Carey Show that was like based in Cleveland, Ohio. Because I still remember the theme song for that show, which was like Cleveland Rocks, Cleveland Rocks. It was a really cute, funny little show. Drew Carey's like an unproblematic guy. He's really, nice. He's, he's like a shorter guy with blonde hair that wears glasses. He is like so sweet. Like you don't ever hear him caught up in any drama or anything like that. So, Drew Carey's fiance was recently murdered. And days after his fiance, or I think the day that she was murdered, Wendy Williams made some commentary about Drew Carey's ex-fiance being murdered. She was pushed from a window and fell three stories to her death. Now, that's a very, sensitive subject to discuss. It's very upsetting. But she reported it almost as though it was a joke. And then she made a Price is Right joke. So you know that there's like a catchphrase in The Price is Right, which is come on down, when they tell the contestants to come on down to, play in the show and play the games on the show. And she was like, yeah, come on down, and looked down like that. The woman like fell out of a window or was pushed, to her death from a high point. So like, come on down, like fall from the window, come on down. And that is so bizarre to me. Why would you make a joke like that? But it's in keeping with, she's going to apologize eventually, right? But it's in keeping with how, Wendy Williams behaves. She pushes the envelope with the people that she can push the envelope with. So now it's Drew Carey, so maybe she'll actually get canceled. And like I said before, I don't really believe in canceling people. People are people. Most people, not all people, not Donald Trump. Most people are redeemable, but she keeps pushing the envelope to the point where it's like, why do people still listen to her? Why do people still go on her show? I know it's like fun to hear salacious gossip. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm above gossip. Not everyone, but a lot of people, like, it's human nature to want to know what other people are getting up to, especially if you want to know like what celebrities are getting up to. But she in particular is really nasty about how she reports on things. Just a few weeks ago, she was attacked or criticized because she made a joke about gay men wearing dresses, and then she apologized, but it was like a halfway apology. Basically, she was saying like gay men need to like leave our dresses alone, which is okay. So like, I know maybe some people that watch my videos may not understand, but I am pro LGBTQIA. I support the gay community. No homophobia is going to be tolerated here, guys. I'm sorry. And not all gay men wear dresses. Like, not all gay, like most gay men don't. Most gay men do not present in dresses. And even if they do wear dresses, like, that's okay. That's none of her business. And why she even brought that up, it was like outside of any context of what she was talking about. She just said it out of nowhere. Okay, fine. So maybe you don't like white guys and maybe you don't like gay people, so you don't care that she bashed them. But maybe you care about Black people in HBCUs. Well, she's bashed HBCUs. So, when she was discussing HBCUs for absolutely no reason, she said she can see how HBCUs could be seen as racist when she was talking about the protests against the NFL and like people like kneeling against, the racism that they perceived, like, Colin Kaepernick's protest, basically, right? So she was talking about that, and then she was like, I can understand why white people might feel like they're being like attacked in this country because HBCUs can be seen as being racist, which is so ridiculous when I believe her father and her brother both benefited from attending HBCUs, and there's nothing racist about historically Black colleges and universities, as they were built as a resource for Black people who are not allowed into PWIs, which is predominantly white or traditionally white institutions. So Black people were not allowed to attend college, and so they had to make their own colleges like Howard and Morehouse and Spelman and things like that, right? And she attacks HBCUs as being somehow racist and implying that they excluded white people, which they don't exclude white people. White people can and do attend historically Black colleges and universities. They're historically Black, not exclusively Black. And they only came about because Black people were not allowed to attend white universities. So she was, of course, attacked for that. Judge Mathis attacked her for that. And then she apologized, for her statements. But that's what she does. Like, she says controversial things. Like, she's been doing this from the beginning of time. She says controversial things. She'll issue like a weak milquetoast apology. And then she'll go back to saying something controversial and disrespectful. And I just feel like, at what point do we see that, despite the fact that she suffered through that very traumatic divorce process, it seems like she was going through a hard time. She fell out on stage. She, her husband had a baby on her. Like, everyone's going to empathize and sympathize with that. Like, no one wants to see another human being struggling. How much do those like sympathy points run out? Because ultimately, she's not a nice person. Like, she doesn't treat people kindly and with respect, especially where she wants to be treated kindly and with respect when we're reporting or people are reporting on her relationship drama. Like, she doesn't seem to have the ability to treat people like with humanity. And another thing, when it comes to Wendy Williams' relationship to the LGBTQIA community, it's very problematic because the way in which she talks about gay people almost makes it seem as though she's an ally, when in fact, a lot of her career was brought up on making fun of gay people. In particular, Wendy Williams is a larger, taller woman who has been criticized or speculated for being transgendered. In turn, she's made fun of transgender people and attempted to out people that she perceives as gay. So, for example, her little term, "How you doing?" She's got that because what she was doing was whenever she would have a man that was on her show that she thought could be gay or LGBTQ or whatever the case may be, gay, bisexual, queer, whatever you want to call it, she would ask them, "How you doing?" if there were gay rumors that were about them, to try to get them to out themselves. And she would like report in a way to try to insinuate that people were gay, like when they weren't gay, kind of making it seem like being gay is something bad or something that you have to hide. And that what that really forces people to do is to stay in the closet. It stigmatizes homosexuality. It makes it difficult for people to come out when they feel like they're being hunted to find out if they're gay or not. And it also makes people that are straight, that are being accused of being gay, act in a homophobic way in order to prove that they're not gay, right? So Wendy has done a lot of damage to the LGBTQ community, but she still tries to like benefit from the LGBTQ community and pretend as though she is somehow supportive of the community. But as you can see, she's not. She's almost resentful because people think that she's transgendered. Putting that aside, the way that she interacts with the Black community itself is also very problematic. There's been several times when there's Black celebrities that have bucked the system where she's gone against them. For example, she's against Colin Kaepernick. She said negative things about him. She also is consistently against Beyonce now and Jay-Z, but it seems to particularly be Beyonce that she has an issue with. It goes back to her radio show that she had in New York back in the 80s and the 90s. She did not seem to like Beyonce very much. When Beyonce was coming up, she accused Beyonce of protesting during the Super Bowl, even though she wasn't protesting, because they didn't stand up during the national anthem because they were having a business discussion. Like, a lot of other people were talking during the national anthem because most people don't stand up during the national anthem. And she pretended as though they were having some type of protest, and she was down talking them and saying that, we should really, respect respect the flag and respect the national anthem. Even though the national anthem is in and of itself inherently racist, there are racist lyrics in the national anthem that talk about defeating the slave. She doesn't really seem to be on Black people's side. She seems to come from that respectability politics era of Blackness, where she sees people that are, thuggish or whatever as someone that she should particularly look down upon. So with her history of speaking so negatively about the Black community and icons within the Black community, I don't know if you guys recall, but she is the one that single-handedly attempted to tear Whitney Houston down when Whitney Houston was going through her drug and alcohol addiction issues. She had Whitney Houston on her radio show. She was saying very negative things to Whitney Houston. She was goading Whitney Houston into saying things to her that would give sound bites that would kind of demean Whitney Houston, because one of her biggest aspirations is whenever there's a black female celebrity, especially the top female celebrity, it was Whitney Houston, now it's Beyonce, she wants to try to bring them back down to size and show that they're really not that good. You see that that's a constant theme throughout all of her episodes, is that she really is invested in showing black people and black women in particular that they do not measure up. She also has a way of talking about black people that is derogatory, especially young black men, that is derogatory. When the whole Chris Brown and Rihanna situation happened, she clearly, faulted Rihanna for the domestic violence. Well, it comes to find out that Wendy herself was enduring domestic violence while making excuses for the domestic violence that, Rihanna was under. She also has been an apologist for perpetrators of domestic violence in many of her episodes. She's just an all-around problematic person, and I wonder when we get to the point that we just say enough is enough with Wendy. I mean, is there someone else that can deliver the hot topics in this day and age of the shade room? B. Scott, I don't know, any of these other things that are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these other ways in which celebrities make their own lives accessible to you. I mean, why do you need a Wendy Williams when Cardi B puts literally her entire life on her Instagram feed and and all of her thoughts are on her Twitter? I don't see the need for someone like Wendy Williams to still be on air just spewing vitriol and negativity towards marginalized communities. And it seems like this time maybe she's crossed the line because she's talking about a white celebrity instead of usually she's expressed most of her vitriol towards black celebrities. She very rarely goes off the reservation and says negative things about white celebrities. And there's just one other thing about Wendy Williams that has always kind of stuck in my jaw about her, and it was the whole Method Man situation. Now, this is a very old situation, but it's something that always comes to mind whenever I think about people lauding her as, the queen of gossip and, giving her her own show and things like that, is that ultimately the things that she does are destructive to the people that she reports on. She doesn't operate from a space of not doing any harm, nor do I necessarily think that she has to, but I think to be a good person, sometimes you should weigh the equities of reporting on something versus completely destroying someone's life. So the situation I'm talking about is that Method Man, we all know him. He's the rapper from Wu-Tang Clan. He also had that duet that's classic with Mary J. Blige, You're All That I Need. Amazing rapper, amazing actor as well. He's a really good actor. You guys should catch him on The Wire. Method Man can really act. Method Man's wife was going through cancer and chemotherapy. I believe she had breast cancer, and I believe it was a very aggressive breast cancer, and she was fighting for her life. At the same time, Method Man stepped out of his marriage and cheated on his wife. And Wendy Williams both obtained the medical record, so it wasn't known to the general public that Method Man's wife had cancer. But Wendy Williams not only leaked that Method Man was cheating on his wife, but also shared the medical records confirming that his wife had cancer, and so he was cheating on his wife while she had cancer, ultimately doing a lot of emotional damage to Method Man's wife. Because obviously it's terrible to be going through cancer, and then on top of that, your spouse is stepping out on you. I think that that's something that's not the general public's business. It doesn't have anything to do with, whether or not Method Man is cheating on his wife while she has cancer. Maybe that's a story for her to share if at some point in time she wants to share that. But I don't see why, even though it's salacious, why you would need to share that with the general public. That's just so unnecessarily hurtful. So I feel as though she does things out of maliciousness. And then when it turned around that her business was leaking on the street, she was crying in the streets and having an emotional breakdown, and people were asking that people respect her, but she didn't give anyone that same respect that she wanted to receive in turn. So I think that this whole Drew Carey situation is disgusting. His ex-fiance was murdered, and she's making jokes about come on down when the woman was thrown out of a window. But on top of that, I feel like it's just the icing on the cake, or maybe the straw that broke the camel's back, because it's been years in the making that Wendy has been hyper problematic when it comes to celebrities. I mean, I don't really feel like we have to kowtow to celebrities, bow down to celebrities, but they're human beings too. And the way that she reports on celebrities, gay people, black people, it's all very derisive. And it seems to come from like a place of like internal hatred. And I just don't understand like why people want to absorb all the negativity that she has to put out in the world. So my ultimate question to Wendy Williams is, girl, what is you doing? Why are you doing this? Should you maybe seek some therapy? Or is something like going on with her? Is she crazy? I want to be careful here. I have a question. I'm not accusing. I'm not diagnosing. But I'm wondering if there's some type of mental health issue there, substance abuse issue there that prevents her from being able to have impulse control, prevents her from being able to filter out what the first thing that comes to mind. Because sometimes, you know, we all might have stressful lives and gallows humor, and we might think of something that's like an inappropriate joke, maybe that we'll say with our friends. But to take the time to put that on national television, is there something wrong with her? Because think about it. The average everyday neurotypical person doesn't say things like "come on down" when they're talking about the fact that someone fell out of a window. Most of us, not all of us, don't publicly crack jokes outside of our circle of friends that are about people that are recently deceased, especially people that, you know, we don't know, you know? So, you know, there's someone that recently passed away that's in a professional group that I'm in. No one cracked any jokes about it, obviously. And you would think that if we're able to exercise this much restraint, most people are able to exercise that much restraint. Since she's not able to exercise that type of restraint, is something wrong with her? Because she couldn't have thought that this would be a good idea. She couldn't have thought that people would laugh. I mean, the audience didn't even laugh. Just like when she made the crack about HBCUs, the audience didn't even laugh. So what is wrong with her is ultimately what my question is. What do you guys think the issue is? Do you think that I'm being too sensitive, that it's okay that she made those type of jokes? I mean, jokes are jokes, and whether or not, I'm not trying to censor anybody's ability to make comedy, and I think some of what she does is comedy. Let me be very clear about that as well. Some of what she does is comedy. People are allowed to make jokes. People are allowed to have, you know, personal opinions. But it seems like consistently her comedy or her way of commenting on social issues, political issues, celebrity issues is to punch down. Meaning she always goes for the mean. She always goes to hurt people. And she always kind of likes to kick people when they're down, like Whitney Houston. Instead of when she's at her height, she wants to see her at her low and bring her down. What's wrong with her? Like, is there something wrong with her? Am I wrong? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.